Welcome to the Riskwiser Zone, the show where we dive into the world of stocks and finance to help you make informed decisions about your investments. We've got a packed show for you, with a lot of earnings reports coming in from some big names in the industry. Let's start with some of the highlights from the past week. Constellation Energy Group reported first-quarter earnings and revenue that beat analyst estimates, sending their stock higher in pre-market trading. The company reported earnings per share of $2.74 on revenue of $11.12 billion, exceeding expectations of $2.59 on revenue of $9 billion. Barrick Mining Corporation also had a strong quarter, with gold production exceeding their forecast. The company produced 719,000 ounces of gold in the quarter, surpassing their guidance of 640,000 to 680,000 ounces. This led to a slight increase in their stock price in pre-market trading. We also saw some impressive numbers from Monday.com, an artificial intelligence work platform that reported strong quarterly results and lifted its full-year forecast for both revenue and adjusted operating profits. Their first-quarter revenue grew 24% year-over-year, with a record $49 million in operating profits. On the other hand, Hims & Hers Health reported earnings that fell short of expectations, while Plug Power's earnings were in line with estimates. Oklo, Cisco Systems, Applied Materials, and several other companies are also set to report their earnings this week, so we'll be keeping a close eye on those. It's worth noting that the market is still waiting for some key inflation data, including April's Consumer Price Index, which is scheduled to be released on Tuesday. This could have a significant impact on the market, so we'll be watching that closely as well. We'll also be talking to some industry experts and analysts to get their take on the latest developments. We'll be right back with more from the world of stocks and finance on the Riskwiser Zone. Welcome back to the Riskwiser Zone. We're continuing our discussion on the latest market trends and economic updates. Our middle segment today focuses on the recent developments in the U.S. stock market and the potential implications of the ongoing Iran conflict on global economies. According to recent reports, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by over 537 points, or 1.06%, to end at 49,531.70, while the Nasdaq Composite lost 412.61 points, or 1.53%, to 26,226.35. The S&P 500 also declined, losing 91.62 points, or 1.22%, to end at 7,409.62 points. These declines are largely attributed to the increasing tensions between the U.S. and Iran, which have led to a surge in crude oil prices and rising bond yields. The yield on 10-year Treasury notes has touched its highest level since May 2025, indicating growing concerns about the potential for sticky inflation and the need for a rate hike by the Federal Reserve. The odds of a 25 basis point rate hike in December are now approaching 40%, up from 13.6% just a week ago. The conflict has also had an impact on individual stocks, with companies like Nvidia, AMD, and Intel experiencing significant declines due to their exposure to the AI hyperscaler phenomenon. On the other hand, some stocks like Microsoft and Dexcom have seen gains following positive announcements. It's essential to note that the current market volatility is largely driven by geopolitical events and investor sentiment. As the situation continues to unfold, it's crucial for investors to remain informed and adapt their strategies accordingly. The incoming Federal Reserve Chair, Kevin Warsh, will face significant challenges in navigating the economy through this uncertain period. The potential for a rate hike and the need to balance inflation concerns with economic growth will require careful consideration and decision-making. As we move forward, it's essential to stay up to date with the latest developments and analyze their potential impact on the global economy. We'll continue to monitor the situation and provide updates as more information becomes available. Welcome back to the Riskwiser Zone, we're wrapping up today's show with a closer look at the latest developments in the global market. As we've been following, the ongoing tensions between the US and China have been making headlines, with President Trump meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. The two-day summit has yielded some interesting results, including a reported agreement by China to purchase 200 Boeing jets, marking their first purchase of US-made commercial jets in nearly a decade. This move is being seen as a significant development in the trade relations between the two nations, and it's having a ripple effect on the markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose sharply, with the S&P 500 and Nasdaq also reaching fresh closing records. The tech sector in particular is seeing a surge, with companies like Nvidia and Cisco leading the charge. However, it's not all smooth sailing. The UK is facing a political crisis, with Prime Minister Keir Starmer facing a potential leadership challenge after heavy losses in regional elections. This uncertainty is causing sterling to weaken against the dollar, and investors are keeping a close eye on the situation. In other news, crude oil prices are on the rise, with Brent trading at over $106 per barrel. And in precious metals, spot gold has fallen slightly to $4,650 an ounce. As we navigate these complex market dynamics, it's essential to stay informed and adapt to changing circumstances. Remember, investing always involves risk, and it's crucial to approach the markets with caution. That's all for today's Riskwiser Zone. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, keep your finances in check.